The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. LPIA bracing for labor unrest. Union here expected to heat up as issues remain unresolved. The health minister says the situation at PMH is manageable. And the government has made no decisions on how to save NIB. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, July 18th, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be here filling in for Pamela Musgrove. Also this morning, we're talking with Florida Prep Academy. They have a big event coming up. They're going to tell us all about that. And later in Morning Blend Business, what exactly is an NFT? And what's all this talk about digital assets all about? We're going to get into that. We're going to break it down, make it make sense. That's coming up in Morning Blend Business. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the Bahamas Airport Authority is bracing for possible industrial action at Lynden Pindling International Airport. The authority assuring yesterday it's prepared to handle any disruptions and that it continues to negotiate with the Airport Airline and Allied Workers Union in good faith to resolve outstanding issues. Meanwhile, First Vice President of the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress, Kimberly Ferguson, saying that the union and the authority have not had harmony for a long time, that union falling under that umbrella organization now. Ferguson saying yesterday the union has not heard from the BAA, the Bahamas Airport Authority. The failure of the airport authority to conclude an industrial agreement with the AAAWU has led to the looming threat of industrial action at LPIA and Family Island airports. The issue stems from protracted negotiations. According to Ferguson, a deal was reached but could not be executed. This as the dates the agreement covered had already expired. The entire agreement was resubmitted, and there is concern that the same thing could happen yet again. Last week, Ferguson warned that if the resubmitted deal is not accepted, signed, and registered before September 2023, it would expire for a second time. In addition to the dating issue, Ferguson says last week the union had been advised by Financial Secretary Simon Wilson that the funding for the agreement was already approved and forwarded to the Airport Authority. However, Ferguson says the Airport Authority officials had advised that they had yet to receive any money from the government. State Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Miles LaRota, who has responsibility for national insurance, saying that the government has not yet adopted or even considered any of the recommendations of the 11th Actuarial Review for NIB. The report was tabled last week after it was leaked to the Nassau Guardian, which reported extensively on it on June 28th. Lorota was careful to say yesterday that the government was committed to ensuring that the fund survives, but that one of the recommendations, that NIB benefits be adjusted downward, has never been on the table. Auditors have suggested cutting benefits, raising the retirement age, and increasing the contribution rate as ways to shore up the ailing National Insurance Fund. Days after revealing that Princess Margaret Hospital was bursting at the seams due to a massive influx of non-COVID patients, Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville says that the situation is more manageable. He says they still have challenges, but they are currently able to get a handle on them. Thursday, Darville said more than 50 patients were awaiting admission to PMH. After a massive influx of non-COVID patients pushed the hospital into crisis mode, as a result, patients were transferred to Doctors Hospital West to help alleviate the burden. A 17-year-old boy charged with a shooting that killed one man and injured three others, the juvenile, who cannot be named for legal reasons, is accused of the murder of Chavez Jones and the attempted murders of France Dulce, Rotnell Geffrard, and Leroy Petty on June 27th. Police responded to reports of a shooting at Deansley around 10 p.m. According to initial reports, a group was gathered outside a business when the occupants of a car opened fire on the crowd, hitting the four men. The shooting victims were rushed to the hospital where Jones died. The teenager was not required to enter pleas to the charges when he made his initial court appearance before Magistrate Shaka Seville on Friday. He was remanded to the Simpson Penn School for Boys. However, he was advised of his right to seek bail in the Supreme Court. He'll make his next court appearance on October 12th. At that time, prosecutors are expected to serve a voluntary bill of indictment, which will fast-track that case to the Supreme Court. And Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez says he wants to meet with the families of the 6 men who were murdered on Jerome Avenue last year. He wants to provide an update on the investigation. At last report, police did not have any suspects in custody in connection with the brutal murders. During that incident, a 2-year-old girl was shot in the head and a woman was injured as well. Ferguson was speaking on a ZNS talk show last week. He said the family members are still grieving and that they want answers. Police say the men were traveling on Jerome Avenue in a Honda Inspire when 4 men dressed in black got out of a white Kia Sportage and opened fire on them. Police say 2 of the suspects were armed with high-powered assault rifles. The other 2 were armed with calibrated pistols. It happened on April 15th, 2021. Overseas, Sri Lanka's acting president today declaring a state of emergency, giving him broad authority amid growing protests demanding his resignation 2 days before the country's lawmakers are set to elect a new president. When he became acting president on Friday after his predecessor fled abroad on Wednesday and resigned after months-long protests over the country's economic collapse. His move to impose a state of emergency comes as protests demanding his resignation have continued in most parts of the country, with some protesters burning his effigy. Lawmakers who met on Saturday began the process of electing a new leader to serve the rest of the term, abandoned by the former president. Nominations for the election of the new president will be heard on Tuesday, and if there is more than one candidate, the lawmakers will vote on Wednesday. The emergency decree involves sections of the Public Security Ordinance that allow the acting president to make regulations in the interest of public security, the preservation of public order, the suppression of mutiny, riot, or civil commotion, or the maintenance of essential supplies. In sports, from the track and field World Championships, Team Bahamas off and running at the 18th World Athletics Outdoor Championships, which got underway on Friday in Eugene, Oregon. Both Anthony Strachan and Tania Gaither making it through to the semifinals of the women's 100 meters. We could get no further as Strachan just fell short, and Gaither suffered the most unfortunate result when she disqualified for a false start. From the naked eye, it was near impossible to catch the false start from Gaither, but the starting blocks at World Athletics are fully automated, and any glitch in the set position could trigger a false start. Gaither's reaction time was 0.093 seconds. The allowable limit is 0.1. According to reports, we saw it. She protested vigorously, but the final was run last night without her. And the Bahamas has advanced to the FIBA America's Women's Central Basket Championships in November after taking care of Jamaica in the third-place game of the Caribbean Basketball Federation Women's Championship yesterday, winning 68-57. This was in Havana, Cuba. It was an up-and-down tournament for the Bahamas, losing emphatically to Cuba and the Dominican Republic, but again, taking care of Jamaica when it needed to. You can read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. And starving for an opportunity to compete, bodybuilding and fitness athletes coming out in full force over the weekend, and the fans showing up too, signaling a return to the Bahamas Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation's Novice and National Championships, the 49th edition of the Bodybuilding and Fitness Nationals, and the first in 3 years due to the pandemic, drawing hundreds to Atlantis Theater in Atlantis Saturday night. Coming out with the overall titles were Fania Joseph in open bikini, Kara Saunders in women's wellness, Kaif Young in men's physique, and Giovanni Farrington in men's bodybuilding. Overall, 30 athletes took part, and you can read more about how they did in today's Guardian Sports section. In your first look at weather for today, we've got a weakening mid to upper level trough that will support pockets of showers and thunderstorms over the extreme northwest Bahamas today. Meanwhile, surface ridging continues to generate moderate to locally fresh winds across the country. There's a slight risk of water spout activity over the northwest Bahamas. Beachgoers in the central and southeastern islands should exercise caution along east and south coast beaches, as there could be rip currents. And everybody's again being advised to remain hydrated and use sun protective gear or limit prolonged sun exposure due to scorching triple-digit heat indices and temperatures today. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, we're looking at variably cloudy, hot, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the extreme northwest islands. That will continue through tonight. The chance of isolated showers over the remainder of the northwestern islands as well. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Winds southeast to south at 15 knots with higher gusts, seas 3 to 5 feet. For the central and southeast Bahamas today, partly sunny, hot and breezy with a chance of a stray shower or two, turning mostly fair and warm with a few stray showers tonight. Small craft caution remains in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, but with higher gusts in the southeastern islands. Seas 4 to 7 feet. Temperatures today getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius, but it's going to feel a whole lot hotter than that. Look for the heat index to range between 102 to 105 Fahrenheit, that's 39 to 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together. And we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Hello? Keisha, you something else, boy.
Who this is? Tamika?
You don't even remember my name? Wow, Dread.
Girl, I've been so busy. You still planning your trip?
Girl, and I can't wait. I right here online booking my car.
You dare planning trip? You vaccinated?
Girl, we had to. We ain't been nowhere since this pandemic started. Girl, and we got a 14-day vacation.
Best vacation ever.
Girl, are you though?
Well, I know you was gonna get the vaccine because you too like travel. When y'all get your vaccine?
Girl, long time. Because you gotta get your first dose, wait, then get your second dose at least 2 weeks before you travel. Johnny get his vaccine and he 12. Even Grammy get hers. Child, and Grammy say she ain't get no money. But I see her hiding that under the mattress.
Child, let me send my list because I know you going shopping.
Keisha, don't play with me.
Vaccinate today, live tomorrow. A message by PAHO WHO, Canada, and USAID.
Wise Guy Entertainment and the Beam Agency in association with Tropical Gyros presents the 15th annual Laugh Fest. Laugh now, cry later. Live at Fusion Superplex. Starring your headliner, fresh off tour with D.L. Hughley and backed by pop theater man, Bodacious. Get ready for your feature comedian, Cisco Duran.
I'll tell you right now, that's what fat people do, okay? Fat people look at other fat people and we judge each other, all right? I saw the way you looked at me when I got on stage. Like, you looked at me, it was like, oh my God. Hey, baby, I'm not that fat, right? Jesus Christ.
And get ready for some of the 242's funniest comedians, Das Quaid, BJ, and Shad Fur. All hosted by the Bahamian King of Comedy, Naughty. 2 big shows, Friday, July 29th and Saturday, July 30th at Fusion Superplex. General admission, $40. Limited VIP, $60. Tickets go on sale Monday, July 18th at Fusion Superplex. Laugh Fest 2022, brought to you by the Platinum sponsors, Fine Threads, John Shoes, and KFC Nassau.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796 on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. Again, 422-4796. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards.
Good morning.
Chester Robards filling in for Pamela Musgrove. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Okay, you took off your mask and you're all shaved. You look different. I don't know who you are.
Wow.
Okay. But anyway, good to see you. Thank you for being here today. Coming up this morning, we have more weather and traffic. And in our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with Florida Prep Academy. They have a big event coming up, and they're going to tell us all about that. The school year is fast approaching, and they might have some information that you need now. And then later in Morning Blend Business, NFTs. You know what that is, right? You look like the type that would know what that is.
Sure, I know what an NFT
What does it
is.
stand for?
Fungible token.
Fungible, that word. Fungible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And digital assets. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to see if we can break it down so that everybody can understand what it is and whether we have digital assets to... What are the terms? I don't even know. Liquidate, maximize, whatever. We're going to find out what the terms are and what it means, and whether this is something you need to be.
Whether you need a fungible token, non-fungible token,
to be able to have digital assets.
Sure.
Or me specifically.
Anybody.
Okay. Yes. So we're going to find out what it all means because it sounds like we're speaking a very foreign language. Right
It is
now.
a foreign language.
Yeah. So hopefully by the end of the show, we'll all know what we're talking about or what other people are talking about when they say these things. That's coming up. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And in the news, have you been watching the track and field championships, the world championships, athletics championships?
I ain't watch a second of it.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, Chester.
I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah,
That's the great thing about social media.
You don't need to watch it.
I don't need to watch it. I'm just hearing about it.
Well, okay. All right. Sometimes it's pretty cool to watch it, too. But, yeah, it's been interesting so far, and a few more days to go. We had a little bit of disappointment in the women's 100 meters. Anthony Strachan was in one of the made it to the semifinals, but fell short. I think she came fourth. Just missed advancing to the finals.
I was happy to hear her name again.
Yeah. Fourth or fifth, I can't remember what it was, but yeah. So her time, it was still a lifetime best time, 10.98. So that's pretty good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was really heartbreaking was Tania Gaither. She false started. And it was so slight. I mean, you really couldn't see it, but it's high tech there.
Yeah.
And so they can tell when you got off the board before everybody else. And boy, she really, really fought to stay in there, but no, didn't work.
Wow.
Didn't work. And yeah, so that was unfortunate. A couple people false started, and that was sad. And you know, I don't know if you're watching it on NBC, but my goodness. Oh, boy. Anyway, I mean, that's their home team, right? One of the Americans false started. And I mean, the announcers were so strange. Like when Tania did it, like, okay, go now. You're holding up this race.
Right.
But when the American falls started, no, his father just died. No, they can't do that.
Wow.
Oh, this is so hard. This is so sad and heartbreaking. Like,
wow.
Really?
How they be?
And they followed him to the back where he was sitting, looking all sad and everything. I mean, it was very sad, yeah, sure. But the rules are the rules.
That's right.
But anyway, Shawnee Miller-Weibo in the first round of the 400 meters. I mean, it's like she's running against children. So we hope that continues straight through to the finals. And it was very sad. We saw the men's 400 meters. No Stephen Gardner's. He unable to participate this year, and that. Oh boy.
Shankle.
Something happened, yeah. But hopefully next year.
Yeah.
So, man. There's more from sports. The Bahamas, the women's basketball team, senior basketball team, they finished third at the Caribbean Basketball Confederation Women's Championships by defeating Jamaica 68-57. And that means they're going to advance to the FIBA America's Women's Central Basket Championship in November.
Awesome.
So that's pretty good.
Good, yeah.
And there's a statement from the Minister of Sports congratulating them on that. And so that's very encouraging. Very good stuff there. Yeah. So maybe you've been watching it so far. What do you think of the track and field World Championships? You can let us know. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Remember, standard text rates apply. All right, so all that is happening. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Big headlines in the National Guardian. LPIA braces for labor unrest. The union there expected to heat up with issues that remain unresolved. Oh boy, just as the summer travel season is in full swing, the Bahamas Airport Authority is bracing for possible industrial action at Lyndon Pilling International Airport. The authority assured yesterday, though, that it's prepared to handle any disruptions and that it continues to negotiate with the Airport Airline and Allied Workers Union, the AAAW, in good faith to resolve outstanding issues. But Kimsley Ferguson, the first vice president of the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress, under which the AAAW falls, asserting that the union and authority have not had harmony for a long time. Ferguson says that the union has not heard from the BAA, the Bahamas Airport Authority. The failure of the Airport Authority to conclude an industrial agreement with the union has led to the looming threat of industrial action at LPIA and Family Island airports. The issue stems from protracted negotiations. According to Ferguson, a deal was reached but could not be executed because the dates the agreement covered had already expired. Wow, the entire agreement was resubmitted, and there is concern that the same thing could happen again. Last week, Ferguson warned that if the resubmitted deal is not accepted and signed and registered before September 2023, it would expire for a second time. I mean, there's a danger of that. 2023?
Well, it already expired. So
I could see 20. Wow. Okay. In addition to the dating issue, Ferguson says that last week the union had been advised by Financial Secretary Simon Wilson that the funding for the agreement was already approved and forwarded to the Airport Authority. However, Ferguson says the authority officials had advised they had yet to receive any money from the government. Last week, Ferguson set a deadline for Friday past, promising industrial action at the Airport Authority, as well as Princess Margaret Hospital and elsewhere in the public service, should a number of outstanding industrial agreements not be completed. Yesterday, the Airport Authority issued a statement assuring the public that, quote, contingency plans have been mobilized to ensure minimal, if any, inconvenience and disruption to our international domestic travelers. The brief statement concluded, quote, the traveling and general public should be further assured of all efforts to work together in industrial harmony with the relevant stakeholders as we continue to provide safe, reliable, and efficient services to meet the needs of users and operators. Now, speaking to the NASA Guardian last night, Ferguson said, quote, I don't know who they're negotiating with because I have neither heard nor seen any representative from the Airport Authority. We continue to wait to hear from the Airport Authority regarding the outstanding monies. I've been advised by a member of the negotiating team that there is no $10 million allotted for setting up the industrial agreement, as stated by the chairman of the Airport Authority, and I know for a fact that there were monies forwarded to the account of certain staff, which in my view is not what they should have received. There's been no discussion with the union regarding the outstanding funds that were owed to Family Island officers, which, when calculated, would be to the tune of up to $25,000 per person for some people. Wow. Okay. I don't understand how these people can actually indicate that they are addressing these outstanding concerns and have no discourse with the union at all. It appears that this is a practice, and that is exactly why we are where we are, because nobody seems to want to see the union as a partner that they are and to negotiate in good faith. And so the chips will fall where they may. Wow.
I've heard this tune before, over and over.
Yes,
and
yes,
over
yes.
And over.
Indeed. And but it looks like they're going to rally all of their union partners, and we could have issues elsewhere because of this and some other outstanding grievances. So, are we prepared for that type of summer? Let's get your views on it, folks. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay, this text here, not dealing with what we're talking about this morning, but it says, good morning, Dwight. What's up with BPL? The power keeps going out even when it's no bad weather. I live in the South. BPL, same foolishness another year. Been hearing that some people have been having outages now. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I do not know. But if you drive around, you do see a lot of BPL workers out in various spots.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen like trucks congregated and people standing around and looking up and down and looking around, and maybe one guy digging, right? So some things are happening somewhere, but I don't know. I do hear complaints. I do hear a lot of people saying things. But I wish they would. They're not communicating like they used to.
BPO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you notice that?
That is true.
Yeah. And of course, they've had a change. They've had quite a few changes.
Yeah.
And maybe they're just trying to get their bearings, but it's been harder to get information from them. I know when they used to be more vocal, people used to get upset. But you see, when you don't miss the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. But yeah, we're not hearing anything. They are like either they feel they don't need to be accountable, or they just don't know how to be, or they just
Like
are
you say,
overwhelmed.
Things have changed.
I hope it's not.
Maybe they can't be.
Yeah, I mean that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But okay. But yeah, this is very odd, and we need more information. Absolutely agree with you on that. Yeah, very strange. Okay, this is. I don't know what this is. Oh boy. Okay, this one says, I haven't heard from the nurses union president lately. That board appointment. Oh boy, no, I'm not going to read the rest of that. They did something the other day, didn't they? They signed an agreement with or something.
So.
Something happened, or there was a promise. Maybe that was it. A promise from the minister. Something going on there. Yeah. Okay. Continue to send your text messages 422-4796. All right, so that's happening. Brace yourself for that. If you're going to be traveling over the next few weeks, it's possible there could be some issues here. I mean, we know there are lots of other issues abroad. Pilot shortages and the airlines seem to be in crisis. And so this is a very interesting time to be anywhere near an airport. Anywhere in the world, it seems.
Good time to be a pilot.
Yeah,
negotiate some money with these
airlines. Lots of opportunities
airlines.
out there.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities. And I was talking with somebody not too long ago about when I was a kid, how almost everybody wanted to be a pilot.
I did.
You did too?
Yeah.
I always felt it was for nefarious reasons why most people wanted to be.
Of course you thought that.
I'm sure I was right. But I didn't want to be a pilot. but yeah, some very interesting people wanted to be pilots. But where are all the pilots? That's a serious question. Okay. No, I was talking to you, Chester. You don't know?
They're flying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. More of what's in the news. Michael Darville, the health minister, Dr. Michael Darville, says that despite saying that they were in crisis mode at PMH, things are manageable. He says, quote, we still have challenges at the PMH that are currently manageable. We need to go into a working memorandum of understanding with Doctors Hospital West to assist us with during overflows at the Accident and Emergency Department. I thought they did that already. Didn't they say that last week that they will do that? So okay. So
Is that what they said?
I thought that's what they said. They emphatically said that they were going to send them to Doctors Hospital West. But okay, sure. Now, as you may recall, on Thursday, Darville said that more than 50 patients were awaiting admission to PMH after a massive influx of non-COVID patients pushed the hospital into crisis mode. As a result, patients were transferred to Doctors Hospital West to help alleviate the burden. See, that already happened. So they don't have the arrangement yet. They already transferred. Okay. Things are currently manageable at PMH, thank God. This is Darville saying this. Reports to my office confirmed as of this morning, this was Sunday, that the emergency department had 12 admissions. A total of 16 patients were transferred to Doctors Hospital West and one to Doctors Hospital Shirley Street on the 14th and 15th. I was also informed that one patient sent to Doctors Hospital West was discharged with follow-up at PMH Outpatient Specialty Clinic. Now, this comes after he said last week that they were in crisis and they're solving the crisis, but that involved a lot of work with Doctors Hospital to get over this. So, what's missing here is the long-term plans. Do we know what the long-term plan is? This is how they manage a crisis right now, but what are we doing in the long term? And that's what's missing from this discussion. I don't know if you've heard anything, and let's talk about that. We talked a bit about this last week, what needs to happen. But what do you think is the way forward? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. And, of course, the big question is the money. Where is that going to come from to do this? Because if you have the money, you can do anything. But how will we pay for this? That remains to be seen. All right. Again, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Morning, Dwight and you guys. How you doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
Wonderful. I don't understand these ministers of health. They must don't be going in the same cabinet meeting as everybody else. Because it's obvious they misinformed or they don't know what's happening. Now, them look at it, they like controversy. They ain't pay them nurses. Them nurses got back pay, all kind of back pay they get. But they could find money to go pay expensive doctors to send casual patients down there. Now, I don't know who informed him that PMH ain't got no bed, but that's not totally true.
What?
Because there are two wards opposite where I go, 24-bed unit, nobody is in there. 2 units. And then there's Mayo Surgical one, 14 beds. That's 62 beds that the hospital could probably just clean up, brush over, and get those patients down there. I don't know what these fellas is be doing.
Okay, I don't know if it's as simple, maybe you're taking it too literally. I don't know if when they say that there's no beds, they mean actual, mattress or something.
What's that, Dwight?
I don't know if they really mean it like that. I think they mean that there's not space to accommodate them in the place where they're supposed to be. So if you see something in a ward somewhere that there aren't people.
And where they can get treatment.
Right. That doesn't necessarily mean that. But all the doctors, Dr. Dwayne Sands was here last weake and he said the same thing, right? So everybody's saying that. We had Dr. Pinto here. He said the same thing.
You know, this is talk slightly changing, right? From the last time he made his press statement, it's slightly changing.
He says it's manageable.
Nodding his head in the right direction.
Okay. Well, it's multiple doctors saying it. So obviously there's an issue. Maybe there's something wrong with those beds. I don't know what that means. I don't know which area it is.
Those 2 wards, what I speak about, the 24-bed units, they were just recently, during the COVID, was just recently sanitized and done. Because I am still there. I'm still in the vicinity.
Okay.
Thanks for taking my call.
All right. Well, there's probably a good reason why they're not using them.
Like I said, it could be a case that area is not able to be manned because we know they got staff shortages.
Right. And it may be not just as simple as pushing a bed into another ward where there's capacity.
Or even equipment.
Right. So I don't think it literally means
beds.
Right? It's just that we can't handle any more here. And so you got an empty room with some things that look like a bed, but that doesn't mean someone can do what's needed for people there.
In there, yeah.
Perhaps. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Holiday is back in West London with you and Chester, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Dwight, I think you should get more information from those doctors, because let me show you something. Sick people not supposed to get caught up in their politics, okay? And it's wrong for their patients to be in a compromising position, okay? That's all I want to say.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Let's read some of your messages here. Not sure what this is about. The message just says Top Gun effect. Do you get that? Do you get that reference?
Top Gun effect?
Yeah. What do we? Oh, this is the pilot thing. Oh, that's why they wanted to be pilots in the 80s?
Oh.
Yeah, that's one theory. That's one theory.
I don't know. Maybe.
Some people, maybe. I don't think that was the reason for many of them wanted to be pilots.
I want to fly in a fighter jet. I never wanted to fly a fighter jet.
These people definitely do want to fly fighter jets.
You really? Okay.
Why are we pretending? You all know what's going on here.
Sure.
But it's amazing. By the end of the 90s, hey, nobody wanted to be a
wanted
pilot. I don't know what changed.
It was about the boats. Easier to get into.
You're on. Hey, you're right. Boat captain.
Yeah.
That's right. There you go, Chester.
I ain't trying to be a part of
You know exactly what's going on. You know exactly what's going on. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't think about that.
Okay.
You are right. You are right. Oh boy. This one says here, Dwight, it costs over $50,000 to become a pilot. Plus, when you invest all that money, you only work 6 months out of the year. Really? I don't know about that part.
In total?
I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's correct at all.
What?
No. Oh, that's what type of pilot? Anyway, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight and Chester.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, Dwight, hey, man, I believe you have to follow the money in this, because I do agree with Freeman when he said that, the health crisis in this country the politicians can't allow that to just, keep running on with their politics talks, right? Because, hey, Doctors Hospital made off the payment price to COVID at least $16 to $19 million in a short period of time. And that should have been a heads up for our politicians, right? Because now we facing, the two of them we have both parties experiencing had to experience the same crisis, right? And for them to continue sending patients to the Doctors Hospital, and after uttering that 50% was a crisis inside the national hospital. What is going on in this country? Because if we can keep sending patients to these two hospitals that we know that are extremely expensive, right? And all of our doctors, them coming on justifying it. Follow the money. These people have to have shares inside this hospital because why don't let's just close down the Princess Margaret and then send everybody there, man? Because these people continue to prove themselves to only be status quo managers. And they come singing these songs in the hopes that we can keep buying the tune, but we are tired of it, man. Govern. Have a nice day.
Okay. I think you're being a little unfair. As people have pointed out, there are a whole lot of people who don't pay for what they get out of PMH. But you can't try that at the other places you mentioned, right? So they're starting off on a totally different level from the private hospitals And so it's unfair for them. But yeah, management, I'm not saying that management's been great, but there are unique issues to PMH. And they won't turn you away if you are broke or destitute or whatever, right?
Unique issues.
No?
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a little bit different. Very tricky situation with them. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
they could always start saying, y'all got to pay. And then we will have a bigger crisis.
They've been saying that. Well,
I mean, like, we got to pay before we touch you.
Oh. Yeah.
Which some other people do.
That's true.
And that would definitely improve their bottom line and get them the most modern equipment and get them, well, if people pay, right? They could, but they're not that type of hospital.
Right.
Good or bad, right? That's so they're in a unique position here. And it is going to be challenged, but there probably are, as we mentioned last week, better ways to deal with it. Decentralizing some of the services there, trauma centers elsewhere, that will cost money, and we will have to pay for that. But it will be worth it so that people don't go there and have to be sleeping in a hallway for a couple of days until a room becomes available. Waiting hours to be treated at the A&E because there's only one on the whole island.
Yep.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. Are you prepared to pay more so that we can have better health care here in New Providence?
Pay more in what?
Whatever it is required of you. Whatever is required of you.
Are you gonna pay at all?
Well, I mean, they're gonna have to fold it into something to guarantee that you pay.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing that's causing some issues right now. That's been an easy way to collect money. National insurance through there, tied into that. To help to pay.
PMH got 1,000 micro issues that causes all of these pain points for everybody.
Yeah.
Staff, people coming in. Everybody got a problem.
It's scary.
Seems like the only people sitting pretty is PHA.
And I don't even know that's they probably can't sleep at night.
Yeah, right.
Oh wow. I don't know. Maybe you know more than I do. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Sorry to call back, but you said something a while ago that makes me wonder. You said that a lot of us don't want to pay the PMH. But question, who funds the police, the prison, the government official? Who funds that operation? How is that operation funded?
So you're saying we done paying?
Huh?
You're saying we already paying?
In other words, yes. What I am saying is to fund the hospital, the taxpayers, every time you buy one cheese doodle or one tire for your car or you pay gas or you pay, that hospital is funded. You understand? So when we go there and they ask us to pay, that is what you call double taxation. What? And they've been getting away with it for years. Murder.
No.
That hospital is already funded by the taxpayers' dollars.
Okay, you heard all the things you mentioned before, the police and all those things. So that means the same taxes on top of those chips that you bought have to go and pay everybody. So they're getting pennies from that. Now, when you go there for...
Yeah, but Dwight, come on, Dwight, come on. Yeah, but I might be spending pennies, but pennies times 500,000 people every day, all across the board. You know how much money that is in the consolidated?
All right, so that's money to maintain the place, to pay the staff and to keep it clean and whatever it is, right? But for special treatment, when you go and get an argument with somebody and they chop you with a cutlass or shoot you, that's on top of stuff right? That's extra stuff.
Right, that is funded by the taxpayers' dollars. There ain't no way getting around that. And when they come there, that's the reason why when you go there, or all the foreigners go there and anybody go there and they say, I ain't got no money, they allow you to get your service. Now, the ones what could afford, would afford a little more, they must feel their pocket, they pay whatever they ask them to pay. But I ain't paying because that is already funded by the taxpayers' dollars, man. You know what the problem is with the hospital and a lot of things? Bad management. Thanks for taking my call.
Hospitals are unique situations.
PMH is going to be like this forever if we have that attitude.
That's the attitude, yeah.
Right? Some things you're going to need to pay for.
Yeah.
Some things are going to be outside the realm of the ordinary.
You could start a little treatment, but if you come in there for something serious and you rack up a $500,000 bill by yourself.
So are you saying, caller, that elective surgery too? Like you want, the doctor tells you that's not going to kill you, but you just don't like it. It'll look good. You want to remove that from your body. That should be paid for by that. You shouldn't have to pay for that too? Is that what you're saying?
I think you're gone.
I'm sure he's gone, but I just want him to think about that. I mean, what are you saying? That everything they do should be, we already paying. Okay.
I mean, we see that is a problem already. I mean, they have equipment there that's broke down that, they can't replace or repair because, God knows why. I mean, it's tough over there.
Yeah.
And so we can't have this attitude that everything's done taken care of because everything's not taken care of, clearly. The money that they say that they need.
Yeah.
When you come in there as a patient.
Very interesting. Very interesting. How many of you are in agreement with the caller that this is, this is just bad management? They get enough already, although this money has to go to all the schools, and you see the schools can barely open on time and be repaired.
That's the reason we have NHI too, right? Because this is a problem.
Wow. Interesting. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight, we need a good
double call
economist. But the brother, last caller, he is very much right. You see, the people don't want to tell us the truth, but we know what's happening. Okay? We know what's happening. This is a rich country, and the government gets money from all over the place. And everything go in the consolidated fund. They got to stop joking like we stupid. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, the nurses say they're not making enough. The doctors are saying they don't make enough.
Dwayne Sands agreed.
Everybody's not making enough from this, all the money that's going in.
Doctors and nurses can't find a place to park. They get their cars towed.
Wow. Wow. Nobody can.
Exactly.
Nobody can.
And all kind of places that they block off. It's like a war zone.
Oh, boy. Okay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
The problem is that we're living in a democratic, conservative country, rather than a democratic, socialist country, or a progressive country. Like in the United States, how you have the Republicans who want to give tax breaks to the wealthy, and the Democrats, being progressive, or more progressive, who wants to give, benefits, raise taxes to benefit the poor, and that's the problem we have here. You see, we have the rich folks who don't want to pay taxes. You mean people who making the money in the economy? We the richest country in the hemisphere, one of the richest countries in the hemisphere, but less tax, one of the less tax among the less tax in the hemisphere. You understand? We need to tax the economy that we have that could bend in a way that will benefit, and spend in a way that will benefit the poor, those who are less able to pay for the health care, poor health care. We have doctors who make, most of the doctors in the hospital, in our country live behind one gate somewhere. I know some of them have private planes, their own planes. You know what I'm saying? So. But then there's a man in the inner city who can't afford to buy food. Just medical care. Thank you.
What makes us the richest country in the hemisphere?
He said one of.
But what makes us that?
The same doctors in the plane.
Exactly. We don't have no reserves to make us rich. We're all the money is coming into the central government from that thing. I think people have the wrong idea of what rich we are.
Lots of wrong ideas this morning, I'm hearing, but okay. Let's take this call, and then we'll get to your messages, and we got to take a break. Good morning, caller, you're on the air.
Yes. Hello, good morning.
Hi.
I have an idea that I mentioned some time ago on the radio to help fund these kind of things. Now, let's take the bull by the horn. largest set of, our big immigration problem we have here with the Haitians. Just like how Inland Revenue came here and did a big survey of this island and the country and went up on our taxes, government need to put a program in place where they go around and get all the illegals and make them register. Not register, and registering, you give them a card, what they pay for. And it's only to allow them to help with the services they get from our country. Because if they could do it with Inland Revenue, why can't they go around and pressure these people to make sure they're registered? If they don't have a card, you pick them up and you detain them and send them back, because that means they're illegal. And that little bit of money we would get from them, that could go a long way. Because they're making money. They live here. They do what they want to do, and they buy cars, they were paying rent, but they ducking all the taxation in this country, or a whole lot of it. But yet, when it comes to taxing, they only come to us, the Bahamians and the middle class and the business people, and put another tax on us instead of
Which other tax other than
revenue?
Which other tax other than real property? Well, if you call it NIB a tax.
I mean, they
which
went
other
to
tax?
the extreme with Inland Revenue.
But which other tax are you paying?
I'm talking about to get the illegals to help.
Yeah, that's
pay
not
for the use they have in
You
the
know
country.
that's not going to happen. But I mean, but what other tax are they paying? Are you paying that they're not paying, other than real property tax?
Like going to the hospital, they wouldn't say they don't help fund the schools, or they don't help
Well,
fund none
just
of
like
the,
that previous caller said, I mean, they're buying stuff as well then, right?
Yeah, but we're buying stuff as well, but we still pay taxes.
Yeah, which taxes?
We pay Inland Revenue. We pay all. I mean,
Not
there's numerous taxes we pay. But this is a way to get them to put more money into the country, because they send their money out the country.
Yeah.
They only pay the bare they have to pay, but they got the full use of this country. Should they have a disaster or their place burn down, we put them in motels or hotels.
Okay. All right. Well, you know fully well that that's not going to happen. Who's going to come forward? Why would they do that? So, and other than real property, okay. Interesting. Anyway, we'll get to your text messages in just a bit. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
As it was. You know it's not the same. Answer the phone. Harry, you know good.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. A reminder about the closure on the Village Road from Shirley Street to Harmony Hill Road. You definitely want to avoid Village Road if you can, as work continues there. And that will continue for the next few months. Found out more about that single lane closure on Shirley Street. It's a tiny portion, just between Elizabeth and East Street, so it won't necessarily affect your commute that much. In your real-time traffic this morning, at this hour, we're seeing heavy traffic on Mile Butler Highway from just north of Fire Trail in the northbound lanes to Tawny Blooms Darling Highway. You'll see that heavy traffic there. Glassdoor looking a little bit better for you. Just as you approach Munnings Road, you'll see that heavy traffic in front of you, northbound to JFK Drive. Blue Hill Road also seeing heavy traffic just north of Soldier Road, over the hill, heading over the hill to the roundabout with Independence Drive. And on Eastern Road westbound to that area we told you about with Shirley Street and Village Road, that is causing lots of congestion there and often throughout the day. So keep that in mind. If you can avoid that area, you might want to do it. Prince Charles looking much better for you actually as an alternate route, or even Bernard Road at this hour. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert. Brought to you by RBC. RBC reminding you that you can experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Are you an attorney with a joint practice operating from one location? Accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for RBC MultiPay.
You know, you should teach a savings class, because you know everything.
No, I just choose wisely. Like, I just got 2 months free home internet from BTC. All I did was sign up for internet.
2 months internet free? For real?
I bundled my internet and mobile services, and now I'm paying half of what the other guys charge. Plus, as a new customer, I get 2 months internet free.
What? Now, that's a big deal.
Switch to BTC Internet and get the second and third months free for new customers. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of a bite-sized payment I made on my new laptop.
Can I make a bite-sized payment on this amazing vacation?
Yes, with Scotia Select Pay. Now my big-ticket credit card purchases are more manageable with flexible bite-sized payments over 3, 6, 9, or 12 months at a lower interest rate. Scotia Select Pay allows me to better plan my expenses over time. The best part? No credit checks or financing application. Visit bs.scotiabank.com. Conditions apply.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
You're always on the go. We know life can be a daily rush. CIBC, First Caribbean, you can count on us. We make life easier. Manage your accounts at any time. Apply for a loan. It's easy when you bank online. We make life easier with choices that suit you. CIBC, First Caribbean.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. Add an apple pie for just $1 more. Say what? At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
We're good for you.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Holding me back. I want you to hold out the palm of your hand. Why don't we leave it at that? Nothing to say, and everything gets in the way. Seems you cannot be.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:19, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's going on. We've got a weakening mid to upper level trough that will support pockets of showers and thunderstorms over the extreme northwest Bahamas today. Meanwhile, surface ridging continues to generate moderate to locally fresh winds around the country. There's a slight risk of water spout activity over the northwest Bahamas. Beachgoers in the central and southeastern islands should exercise caution at east and south coast beaches as there's a risk of rip currents. And everybody's being advised to remain hydrated, use sun protective gear, limit prolonged sun exposure, as we're expecting triple-digit heat indices again today. So for today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for variably cloudy, hot, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas through tonight. A chance of isolated showers over the remainder of the area. Gusty winds and higher seas expected in showers and thunderstorms. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly sunny, hot, and breezy, with this chance of a stray shower or two, turning mostly fair, warm, with a stray shower or two tonight. Small craft caution in effect. Temperatures getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius, but the heat index will soar up to as high as 105 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook, building high pressure along with a plume of Saharan dust will influence drier weather over the country for most of the remainder of the week. So, for tomorrow, Tuesday, partly mostly sunny, hot, and humid with a chance of isolated showers, turning mostly fair at night. Wednesday, partly mostly sunny, hot, and humid again with a few light stray showers possible. In the tropics, thankfully, the tropics remain quiet and tropical cyclone formation not expected through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. And time for another check of traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. In your traffic for this morning, a reminder about Village Road. Avoid Village Road if you can. There's a closure from Shirley Street to Harmony Hill Road. And that's backing up traffic right now on Eastern Road. And that area has been challenging all day long for everybody for the past few weeks and will continue to be. So if you can, avoid that area entirely, especially during peak rush hours. So in your real-time traffic besides Eastern Road there, we've got Village Road, Soldier, Wolf, and Bernard Road. That intersection looking very congested at this hour. We've got building traffic on Marathon northbound Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic near the junction with Carmichael Road, and especially north of Soldier Road, northbound to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Independence Drive seeing some issues there as well, both directions. And then there's Mile Butler Highway. That's your hot spot this morning. Heavy traffic from Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway, northbound. And Glass Road building as well, so about midway between Fire Trail and JFK Drive, heavy traffic there. Pockets along Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road. Those are your hot spots this morning. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert. Brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Get ready to hit the road. Saturday, July 23rd for the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Fun Run Walk. The race course begins and ends at Goodman's Bay Park. Pre-registration starts promptly at 0500 hours RBDF time or 5 a.m. regular people time. If you are a walker, a runner, need some vitamin D, or just need some exercise and fresh air, the Royal Bahamas Fun Run Walk is for you. For early registration, call the Royal Bahamas Defense Force now at 362-3853 or 434-1721. Hit the road Saturday, July 23rd for the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Fun Run Walk at 0600 hours RBDF time.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Hop in a, go up the, and I can put you in.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards filling in for Pamela Musgrove today. And Chester's making me feel all guilty. Pam's on vacation and Chester's here filling in. He agreed to fill in. So nice of him. And then he tells me during the break how I have him here on this day, his anniversary. I'm like, what?
It wasn't a guilt trip.
That's what it sounded like. Oh, man. Seriously, Chester, why didn't you tell me that? I would have, oh, boy. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and happy anniversary to you.
You were at the wedding. I thought you'd remember.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
Anyway, boy, I'm getting very old. And happy anniversary to Mrs. Amanda Robards. And we'll get him out of here soon. We'll get him out of here soon so he can go and enjoy the day. Happy anniversary. Yes, it was a beautiful wedding, and I got to write this. I got to save this in my calendar permanently. Okay.
Shame on you.
Yeah. But anyway, hope you are able to enjoy the day somehow.
Thank you.
When you get out of here. Oh, man. Okay. Blame Pam.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never going to blame Pam, but okay.
All right. So before the break, we're having a very interesting discussion, right? So we're talking about PMH and the challenges there. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville says that, despite what he said last week, that they're in crisis mode. The situation is manageable. But we're getting reaction from people about this, and they're blaming blaming the powers that be for allowing it to get to this point. And we had a very provocative call earlier, someone who says that there's no way that we should be here with all the money that's collected in taxes. And I'm like, oh, boy, okay. And that we are not going, that's what he's saying, that we're not going to pay any more because they collect enough. I'm like, are you sure they collect enough? All the nurses and the doctors are saying they're not getting enough. And everybody, the teachers are saying that, and the union at the airport is saying they're not getting enough. Everybody's not getting enough, and the cost of living is going up, and the equipment is going up, and the services are going up. Yep. Are you sure we're paying enough? Okay. The facts will disagree.
It
but
don't add up.
Right. But, of course, people will point to all the consultants and all the other people who are getting these big paychecks, and all the people who were recently hired right in the last few months, and where's that money coming from? And so, and they're right to question that. Yeah. So yes, there's lots of double talk, and we understand the anger, and I don't have any answers. I don't. But yes, management, without a doubt, is playing a role. But for what we are expecting, if you think that you should go to PMH and do whatever you need to do and not have to pay for it, I don't think there'll ever be enough for that. Yeah. But I could be wrong. Let's hear what you have to say. We're getting a reaction to this message here. Boy, this is scary. Whose fault is it that the citizenry are not paying for services at PMH? The government neglects to improve the facilities at PMH and came up with the grand idea to subsidize health care to privately run an expensive doctor's hospital. I guess that contract will be confidential as well. I don't know if that's how, I guess it will be, I don't know. Why don't we just close PMH and use doctors? And somebody else said that too. And while we're at it, the government should use the same strategy for education. Let's just let the private schools run the education system in the country, because public education is failing. And for the record, we're not paying for public education. You're refusing. So what are you saying? What are you saying? So you don't want to pay, but let the privates run it, but you don't want to pay.
Maybe they want to pay, but they're saying that, we have shoddy institutions, and so we shouldn't have to pay? Is that what they're saying?
Well, we don't.
Or we shouldn't have to pay because the government hasn't improved the facilities.
But you're saying close down PMH and just do everything with doctors. Close down all the public schools and just let the private schools be responsible. I feel like but you don't want to pay.
The pretext of that is because the places are shoddy.
Okay, but you're going to have to pay.
In order to make them unshoddy.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you do. Well, you're going to have to pay for some things. This person says here, I suspect that the hospital is full of COVID patients, and the government is only saying non-COVID patients go to the hospital out west because they sang the song. No, that's not what they're saying, right? They said that already, that there are people who are coming. People are coming because for a number of reasons. We've heard different doctors say it too, right? People got sicker during the pandemic. They weren't going in for their regular treatments. Right. They weren't going in for elective surgeries, and things got worse. And now we've got a whole bunch of sick people who couldn't deal with their issues during the pandemic. Either they were afraid or the facilities just weren't open to them. And so now we've got this influx. And then on top of the regular shooting victims and car accident victims and all the other things, the fights and all the stuff that we have all the time. This person says here, I think NIB contributions should make you eligible for Doctors Hospital. Those who want free care go to the public. Oh, okay. We need immigration to deal with the Haitians, and then the drain will not be on the hospital.
Okay.
This one says here, where's the hospital in the budget? Why fix the baseball stadium before the hospital? They knew the hospital had a space problem. Also, foreigners get their treatment here because it's free.
The hospital is being fixed and has been being fixed. They're just chopping it up into little pieces. They can't just close the whole place and renovate.
Right. Fix as they go.
Right.
That's what they do. They've been doing. This person says the reason why we pay so many ways to the government but the government. The reason why we pay so many ways to the government, but is always broke, is because the Bahamas, like most places, is a corporation. We pay a large percentage of money collected to our overlords. I don't know what's happening. Okay, Dwight, the people in the government ain't serious about revenue enhancement. Why are they refusing to remove the NIB ceiling and use a percentage scale on salaries on NIB payments for those who made more money? They should be paying more. What's so hard about that? It's not fair for someone who makes $500 to pay the same rate as someone who makes $3,000. That needs to be addressed, and increase immigration permit fees, work residency, and spousal. This is an easy fix that the government, present and past, don't want to touch. Why? Why? This person says here, what the man is saying about illegals, and the card may actually work. They can find everyone else. So I actually agree with him on that one. The statisticians came to my house, so it's the same process. We need to take the time to find these people and document them. Our country has a bandage-like approach to everything. We do it now or regret later. Okay, folks, if you're thinking that, if you agree with that caller, then you're not thinking, right? So you think that if you're here illegally, if you're an undocumented person, that you just sit back and allow someone to come to your door and say, hey, you're not here legally, and we want to do this. Here's a card that you can use. Do you think that's how it's going to work? No, it doesn't. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. You're very, very confused.
Pretty much.
I mean, I don't even think Jehovah's Witnesses can come to the door. Okay. Yeah. This person says here, this is a distracted administration. The Prime Minister is looking to displace Mia Mottley as the region's rock star and failing. Why are you saying this? What does this have to do with what we're talking about today?
It's a popular sentiment.
Oh, is it?
I don't know where it's come from, but okay.
You've heard that before?
Yeah. Now it's become one of those things, you know.
What?
That everybody's saying because
someone started it.
That's funny.
Oh, boy. That's very interesting. This person says here, Dwight, it seems the show is taking on a very provocative and interesting persona, especially regarding the various social ills that exist in the country. It's refreshing to hear the callers trying all factors and stemming from one or two particular areas that politicians and leaders in the country refuse to adequately address or want to resolve. Definitely no surprise to the many law-abiding taxpayers who bear the brunt of the burden of antiquated systems operating this country today. Okay. This text here, it's been common knowledge for years that PMH is bursting at the seams. It had outgrown its interior space and its surrounding exterior. The time to get from the south to downtown is not practical. It's time that we now look at a more centralized location for a major new hospital. Yeah, well, okay, as you said. Or possibly satellites. Satellites, right? Dedicated trauma centers and specialized centers.
Which Doctors Hospital is doing the...
You're right.
Breaking out some satellite locations.
Exactly. Right.
Carmichael.
There you go. So if we had a major trauma center in eastern New Providence, had one on Carmichael, had one maybe further out west, then you might, right? You don't have to, if you get in a car accident or get shot, you don't have to be rushed in the middle of rush hour to Shirley Street, which would be problematic at midnight even. And right, so that you don't need a giant facility for that, just a few of those, and then you can turn something into a cancer treatment center, or a kidney center, or something, right? A children's hospital.
Well, you know, they're gonna have to start breaking out them PPPs for those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get that figured out.
This person says here, Dwight, the people in government ain't serious about revenue enhancement. I think I read this already. This was sent again. Okay. Another one. On the heels of independence, it's clear there are a lot of people who don't know where we are as a country. There's a lot that needs to be done to help people understand first what our reality is and what needs to happen. Yes, that is very clear. If you don't have a job, what should you do? How should you pay?
Say what?
Is this about PMH? Yeah. Well, this is what they do now, right? So that's what they do. And all the folks who keep saying about the undocumented folks, that if you are very ill, they're not going to turn you away. They can't. They won't do that. Now, yeah, the immigration department needs to get it together. That's a different story. But that's what medical professionals do. They take that oath. Right?
Yep.
So they just can't say, oh, well,
I mean,
you're not a Bahamian. Get out of here.
Some people can say, oh, well.
Yeah. Okay. This text here. Did you hear the Islands Collective what? Please have your resignation on our desk at 10 o'clock. That's 10 what? If you ain't sure, you can reply. What's happening here? This is about me. Okay, for what now? What are we talking about? What's going on? Okay. That somebody had a great weekend there. This one here says it's all right. We all know the constant calls made you forget it was Chester's anniversary. Oh, that's what that was about?
Someone came to your
I have
defense.
to resign because I made you come here on your anniversary. You're going to reapply tomorrow. We'll consider letting you back on the show tomorrow morning. I mean, I'll leave right now if you want.
There you go.
Let Chester handle it, or should he be allowed to go? Is that what you say? Which one?
You're making it worse.
Finish the show and then go. Don't ever come back until you say it's okay. That's what you want? I could use a little break. Okay. This person says here, building a new hospital and getting the operations of PMH done right would not benefit the private medical sector. So let's stop pretending out there. Follow the money. How long we've been talking about this hospital. Second point, we Bahamians who have the ability to pay a $50 service charge at PMH would help tremendously, simultaneously not marginalizing those who can't pay.
Right.
A lot of people are going to claim they can't pay it, though, even though they can. And
there's fine money for bail.
Oh,
what?
Wow, that's below low.
That was
below low.
Sorry,
Chester.
I'm a little angry today.
Wow. You're supposed to be in a happy mood.
Yeah.
I know I have you out here, but that's very... What? Oh, boy. Can we take a break on that note? I don't know what to do. Dwight, I'm not confused. If you pick up the illegals and they have no documents, it starts there. In some, we need to stop calling that there. Undocumented individuals, yes. In some instances, more illegals, yes, undocumented people, wow, they're being shady in the text, are in some of these shanty towns then... So if we could find excuses until there are more foreigners in the country than Bahamians. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. I mean, if you're going to go through all that, though, then just go through the process of making them legal. Right?
Yeah.
Just do that. That's a lot to go through to get them to commit to paying taxes. The taxes that, again, other than real property tax, which many Bahamians don't pay, and are not required to pay. What are the taxes that they're paying that you're not paying? They might be NIB, maybe. Again, if you want to call that a tax, what are they paying that you're not paying with the system we have here? Because they're paying VAT, paying duty, they're paying these things. So if you're going to go through all that to document them, then make them residents.
Right.
As a card to use where? What is that? So, okay. Let's take some more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. Pertaining to what I said earlier, I really need more time to get my thought across, but since I'm on the radio, I got to make it quick. When I say that, you make the illegals pay something, and you tie them into the police station and immigration. So if they stop them, they can go in the computer system and see where they paid something, and they got to have a card. You can't just keep taxing the Bahamian people. A lot of us don't have the means for all these taxes.
Okay, I'm glad you called back. I'm glad you called back. So which taxes, though, other than, you said real property tax, but again, a lot of people really don't. Their houses don't qualify for it. They don't have to pay it. So which taxes aren't they paying?
I can't go into all of that right now with all the time. But if they could go to the hospital and say they don't have no money, I won't be able to go to the hospital too and say I don't have no money.
Plenty of people do it.
Like that.
Plenty of people do it.
Now, how would you feel if all the Bahamians now go there and say they don't have any money but still get the services?
But they do.
No, my sister had a bill that they was there already. Sent it to the lawyer.
Must be a big bill.
They already sent that bill to the lawyer to put her in court to make her pay for the operation she had, and she forgot about it. So we need to, and this is a way of controlling them and knowing where they are and what they're doing, because they all have little shops. They all have all kinds of things. They have houses in Haiti, they have farms in Haiti, and they have homes here. But you can't just keep taxing us.
Okay. Well, again, the same method they used with your sister, they can do that there. I mean, I'm sure an operation sounds like, I want to say elective, but okay. But this is a similar situation. Will it make that much of a difference? Is that all that needs to happen to fix PMH and the public hospital system here once and for all? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello. Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi. Good morning.
And good morning, Bahamas. Good morning, Chester. Sounds so good and refreshing hearing you on a Monday morning.
Thank you.
I can listen to you every day of the week on this station.
Oh.
Because you make sense. Dwight.
Okay. Wow.
You asked the caller, what are they not paying or not paying tax on? Dwight?
Yeah, I asked him. Yeah, what taxes are they not paying that other?
Who are you really talking about? You talking about the Haitian or all foreigners?
Undocumented people.
Undocumented people. Okay. What I think we should do. I don't know if it's just undocumented people I'm talking about, but even the documented people who sending money out of this country. I think we need to tax them more. I think that's a big problem. It's a money-making place, and I don't know if we just ain't enough. I mean, too much of us lazy, and we don't want to wait to make this money. But the foreigners coming here and making the money, documented or undocumented, and whatsoever they pay in, I don't think it's enough. Not just deal with that. The work permits, care them up. To encourage us employers maybe to take a chance with the Bahamians who we don't want to fool with, and gladly go for the foreigners. Keep up the good work.
Okay. All right. So more taxes on the remittances, the money they send to the country. Okay. All right. This person says here, these people don't pay NIB. But who are they working for? Are they working for themselves, or are they working for companies that should pay their NIB? Anyway, they say their vehicles are never licensed. It sounds like a lot of people. They have no homes to pay tax for. That's a whole lot of people. And but they have money, though. It's a good portion of the country, legal and undocumented. You're right. We gotta. But you're saying that we just need to be more taxed. Okay. All right. Well, the PMH may need to just be more aggressive, right? Telling everybody, we'll fix you up to the point where you're not dying, but any other care that you need, you're gonna have to pay.
That's right.
You're gonna have to pay,
Kind of makes sense.
and you're gonna pay now, or you can walk out of here, but you may not get far. Is that gonna be? Are you gonna be comfortable with that type of stance? That right? People say, can you imagine? You can hear them calling in now. Like, all they did was they stopped the bleeding, but they made me get out of there. And 2 steps out of Shirley Street, bam, right? You're going to be fine with that because you didn't have. Is that what they should be doing?
NHA.
Got to pay for that.
Yeah.
Got to pay for that.
Well.
Right now, all we have is, what do they call it? Preventative health care.
Yeah.
Right? If you want more, you're going to have to pay for that. People don't want to hear that.
Want more, you got to pay more.
Let's take some more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Chester.
Hi.
I was prompted to call in. Thanks for reading my text, Dwight. And first, before I begin, happy anniversary, Chester.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you, my brother.
Thank you.
Dwight, you're so right on one very salient point, and that is, in order to get more, you have to pay more. I think the disgruntledness that's in our society today is that Bahamians have been, a lot of Bahamians, maybe not all, but many Bahamians, especially in the so-called even diminished middle class today, have been paying the brunt of most of these funds that goes, especially in the consolidated fund. However, our systems still seem to be so antiquated, it's not kept up with the amount of taxation that's happening, and therefore we're getting a lackluster form of service. The hospital, my mother has been a nurse, retired, teaching nurses for over the decades, at least 40 years. And to see the hospital in the state today compared to back some 30 years ago, it's deplorable. The hospital has always had issues, but at the rate where it's at today, there's no excuse. The amount of monies that national insurance, particularly in that one particular entity, where the government has been borrowing monies upon monies for different projects, for different infrastructure, for different properties, and so on and so forth. With that amount of money that's there, that money should have been funneled to the hospital to help to upkeep our number one major medical facility in this country. I'll close on this one point here. When it comes down to the Bahamians and taxation, I don't believe any reasonable thinking, logical Bahamian would disagree that they would not want to pay more in order to get more. I think all of us would want that. But my God, bring about some semblance of where our monies are going. There's the transparency and accountability is not there still. There's a lot of questions that is being asked, but the answers aren't forthcoming. And until that perception has changed and can be changed, we will always remain at this point where we are now, Dwight. And that's the reality of the whole thing. People are asking, give us the answers, be truthful, and transparent. And let's move this country forward.
Okay.
Thank you for taking my call this morning.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah. Wow. All right. Some more of your text messages coming in. Oh, boy. This is in response to an earlier call. Wow. That caller actually said his sister isn't paying her medical bill at PMH, and he's complaining that the government is making an effort to collect, but at the same time, he's saying that Bahamians are paying. This person says here, do we have free health care in the country? Is the service of PMH free? Please explain. It's not.
People just don't pay.
It's not free. This one says here, this is why we are so behind when it comes to the development of the country. We want a state-of-the-art hospital, infrastructure, upgrades, etc., that we see and experience in other countries, but we don't want to pay for it. There is a disconnect. We are at a serious deficit when it comes to critical thinking. Well, the previous caller says that the taxes we pay are enough.
Not enough.
This person says a great show as usual. The caller said his sister forgot about the doctor's bill, Dwight. No. Why do you have to add this part here? Anyway. Okay. No black person in the history of blackness ever forgot a bill.
What?
Certain people forget to pay people when they owe them, so I don't know if that's accurate to say that, but okay. Anyway, do you know that when you walk into doctor's hospital, they require a deposit even before they touch you? Yeah, absolutely. Another one here. The point is the undocumented people need to contribute to the tax system. Also, enforcement of tax collection needs to be significantly improved, then maybe new taxes won't have to be implemented. Another one here. There needs to be a study on how Bahamians travel outside the country seek care. Are they all critical situations? If not, why not seek the care here? These costs for medical care need to be diverted home for a better facility.
Home they don't want to pay, though.
No. But they definitely will. Interesting. Anyway, this person says here, we'll get to you in a second, caller. This person says the illegal immigrants and their infractions must be dealt with. But we as Bahamians still need to take measures to fix our issues along with whatever needs to be done about the illegal immigration problem. It sounds like some of the callers or texters are saying, don't look at us, just go get the money from them. When we all live here, so we need to contribute if we want to benefit from the systems in place and if we want to sustain what we have. Yeah. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
You know, the doctors at doctors' hospital seems like they don't make a critical look. And then the ones in the public system, they'll save you, but then they can charge you guys pay for them late. You still pay for them. You still got to pay them. They can tax you. They can pay you. You got to pay. Your taxes got to pay them. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. This text here. The Bahamas government needs to pay the nurses and the doctors who work at Princess Margaret Hospital the same amount they pay the nurses and doctors at Doctors Hospital East and West. And stop joking. Hurry up and do it.
Hurry up and do it.
Well, you just heard the text you read earlier, right? When you walk it to the place, you got to put down a deposit. So they probably could if they were allowed to do that for everybody who walked into PMH. Are you prepared for that? You prepared for that? Okay. Oh, boy. This text here, the dying middle class are the ones paying all the bills, and we are tired. Go after those who are not contributing, please. We are tired of paying for everyone. Yes, well, indeed. Indeed. Oh, boy. All right, let's take a break. This is a very interesting discussion. We need to explore this a little more. If people are thinking that what we do, I know the cost of living is high. It's high. And things cost way more than they do. We watch American television. We can see that the cost is way elevated based on what folks are paying in other parts of the world. So we know this. But if you're thinking that all of those taxes, VAT and duties and whatever added onto stuff is enough to pay for everything in the country in terms of the public service and all of the services we get, then something's not connecting.
Yeah.
And I'm not justifying the tax because some of these duties they don't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Right? And VAT is VAT. But seriously, you could look around and see that things aren't happening the way they're supposed to happen.
It's true.
Something is off balance, and we do need to address that seriously. And we all need to get on the same page. Well, we all need to be in the same book. Clearly, we're not in the same book if we're going to address that going forward. Right? We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to try to be in the book about NFTs and understand what that's all about and digital assets. That's coming up in More Than Business. You don't want to miss that. Stay with us. We're back after news and this break.
I got Plex in the mail peak season. Shout out to my UPS workers making sure I receive it.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now. 3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road in Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshoss.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
At Esso, we're thankful for you. So we're giving away thousands of dollars in free fuel. Just fuel up with any amount at any Esso service station, and you could be randomly selected to win a $50 fuel voucher. There will be over 100 lucky winners every week. That's simple. Fuel up with any amount at any Esso service station for your chance to win. Special conditions apply. Visit facebook.com/Salt Petroleum Bahamas for more details. Promotion ends July 22nd, 2022. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Scotiabank has a new sales center. Our Wolf and Jerome branch has been converted into a sales center to assist with personalized financial advice, applications for new and switch mortgages, home builders loans, non-resident and second home mortgages, personal loans, credit cards, as well as investment and insurance services. Also, try our new ABMs at our Wolf and Jerome sales center to conduct multiple transactions for your convenience. Visit Scotiabank's new sales center on Wolf Road and Jerome Avenue today, or call 242-356-1697 or 9 for more info.
At Western Union, we have different sending options for you to use the one that fits you best. You can send money directly to bank accounts around the world, or for cash pickup by visiting our agent locations. Or you can also start your money transfer in our app and then pay cash in store. Look for an agent location near you, or download and send money to your loved ones abroad. Catch Janae's annual 20% off back to school sale going on this week only. Get up to 20% off on all school items in stock. Yes, 20% off all school items. Shirts, jumpers, skirts, boys' long and short pants, school neckties, PE shorts in a variety of colors, colorful backpacks and lunch bags, character towels, raincoats and umbrellas. Shop early and don't miss out on this. Janae's Chesapeake Road's annual 20% off back to school sale going on this week only. The best quality school garments at low prices. Beat the rush and save. Janae's 20% off annual back to school sale going on now. Restrictions apply.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Are you an attorney with a joint practice operating from one location? Accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point of sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for RBC MultiPay.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, July 18th, 2022. Blend listeners, once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Monday morning. And today we are talking about NFTs and digital assets and carbon credits. Hopefully we're going to try to get some understanding of all of these things, what they are, as we've been hearing so much more about them over the past few months here for the Bahamas. To guide us through this, we're very pleased to welcome from OKX Bahamas, Jillian Bethel and Anthony Cartwright. Good morning. Great to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Chester.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here. All right, so I advised you to, especially me, I think Chester knows a little more than I do, but to speak as if I am in kindergarten here. So break it down as simply as possible what these are and why we need to be paying attention to them. Let's begin with, if you don't mind, NFTs. Non-fungible tokens? Okay.
Non-fungible tokens.
Okay. What exactly is something that's fungible and non-fungible, and why this is important now?
So, I mean, if I were to explain... Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
Apologies. If I were to explain it to a high schooler, I think I would just describe an NFT as just, digital representation of ownership. And there's some interesting applications of that that transcend, gaming and what it's being used for currently. For example, real estate, intellectual property, that sort of stuff. But an NFT at its core really just is a digital representation of ownership, and it is something that is recorded on the blockchain, and that comes with a certain level of immutability and just reliability and transparency. And so that at its core is what an NFT is. Yeah, if that makes sense.
So, Dwight, you started off with the awkward child of the whole digital asset brotherhood.
Oh, is that what the NFT is?
Yeah. So, if we start off with the other ones and
then
then
it might make
fold
sense.
NFTs
Okay.
in.
All right. So I'll let you guide us along the way.
All right.
Because that's
so,
the one that makes the least sense to me.
Right. Okay. Because it's the awkward child that's creative, and but yeah, NFTs they are, like you said, digital representations. But let's take a step back to assets for a second, right? In our economy, in all the different little economies of the world, we trade value, right? In a system of IOUs, right? Which sounds weird, and let me break it down for everybody to really understand what that means. When I use my expertise to create a product or give a service, my expertise and that product and service has value. And when you want that thing from me, you have to give me something that is of value. It's very difficult to just give random things. So what we do is we come upon something that's very, very common that we all think have value, and we give that in exchange for the goods or services. So in that instance, what we do is we give Bahamian dollars, right? You give a service of, and I always use this example of fish. You give me fish, and I can give you something of value that's equal to that fish, but it's kind of hard to kind of judge that sometimes. I can give you 50 newspapers worth $50 for, $50 worth of a grouper, but it's kind of hard to keep doing that. So instead, in a Bitcoin ecosystem, it's a currency. And explaining this is also the same thing. On a Bitcoin network, what we do is we pay somebody called a miner for executing a transaction, just like we pay tellers through their salary for executing a transaction for us at the bank. Same thing. So on the Bitcoin blockchain, our exchange of value is not Bahamian dollars anymore. It's something that the people who use the Bitcoin blockchain also see value in, and that's Bitcoin, right? And then we have some other assets. So they can be like stored value systems for a company. So a good example of that is Chuck E. Cheese's, right? If I think you have a pizza at Chuck E. Cheese, and I have a couple extra tokens, the pizza line is pretty long and I'm about to leave, I don't want to play any more games, I can give you those tokens, those Chuck E. Cheese tokens, to use within a Chuck E. Cheese ecosystem, and I can use the services of Chuck E. Cheese, and you take that value because you can go to Chuck E. Cheese's and pay for that at Chuck E. Cheese's. So in the digital, we also have those types of tokens. So a good example of that is a project called Storage. I used this example not too long ago as well, where the value that you are giving me is basically storage on your device, like LimeWire back in the day. And I will pay you in storage tokens to store my data on your device, and you will give me that data in return. So that's a different type of asset. That's called a token, right? And so we have all of these different types of asset, and all they are stores of value that's in this blockchain ecosystem, right? And so we have a storage token, a Bitcoin token, and for carbon credits, it's actually the same thing. And we can talk about that a little bit later. So we have those types of tokens. And the NFTs, the reason I call them the awkward child is because those stores of value actually go back to the difficult type of value. Basically, I'm giving you these newspapers instead of a fish, right? And so we may trade NFTs, and at that point, it's kind of hard to say. It's like, hey, how much is this fish worth today? What's the market price today? The market price is XYZ. The reason we call them fungible or non-fungible tokens, fungible means that, one Bahamian dollar bill is still worth the same value as another, even though one is all wrinkly and old and the next one is all crisp, right? But if we were to look at those old Christopher Columbus ones that we all still have, but we all think they have like some super value, right?
We're hoping.
One of them that might be nice and crisp at this point would probably be worth a little bit more, maybe 2 cents more, than one that's all wrinkly. And at that point, they become kind of fungible. A better example of that is the numismatic tokens the central bank has, like the Golden Girls one and all of those stuff. Number one might be a little bit different in value from number two. And so when we exchange those, it's not one common store of value. It's all these little different stores of value. And so a good use case for that is to show ownership of creative things like artwork and stuff like that that are different from each other. So in all of these systems, the common thing is it's just a store of value, just like money is to us. But there's different types of them, from the currency one to the one that shows a ecosystem in a value in an ecosystem, or the non-fungible tokens.
All right. So I'm getting a couple messages. People saying, okay, slow down a little bit. That was a lot of information. And you gave 2 or 3 messages saying that. Slow down. I'm overwhelmed.
down.
I'm more confused now than before. All right. So let's Bahamianize some of the examples. You gave one already with the Columbus dollar, but let's do some more examples so people can understand in a practical sense how this works.
Yeah. The easiest thing is, if I want to pay you, I'm going to give you something that's of value to you. And what we've done in the world now is we have broken down the system, not by country, as we've done before, but by some other type of ecosystem, whether it's Bitcoin blockchain, whether it's carbon credit ecosystem, whether it's Chuck E. Cheese ecosystem. We've just taken that store of value and we've put it on the blockchain and call it a digital asset. So, yeah. Oh boy.
I hope we've made things a bit clearer and not.
I think when it comes to NFTs, most people, I guess, understand that an NFT might be a thing. So it might be that graffiti thing that I saw, and we call it an NFT. We pieces of artwork, we put it on the blockchain, then we call it an NFT. So maybe people are confused because there are different types of NFTs.
Yeah, so there are different types of NFTs, and again, like different applications. So
right.
I think the way you think of this, perhaps, is that you could realistically tokenize certain characteristics of a physical object, right? So, for example, and there have been discussions around this. It's not 100% worked out, but there's promise. But for example, like real estate deeds, you could technically tokenize that, turn it into an NFT, and then the transfer of those deeds become a lot more seamless. And so that is like, in effect, I don't think we've really gotten to that place in the space where we do anything beyond, artwork and gaming and that sort of stuff. But that's not the play for NFTs, I think, not long term. The long term play for NFTs is to make a frictionless environment for, the transfer of assets, really. And that's even real world assets. So yeah, there are a lot of applications, I think, for NFTs. We haven't yet really.
Yeah.
All right. Dwight just gave me a look like, whoa.
I was going to say the carbon credits one, I think, is a little bit easier to understand.
Yeah.
That one kind of makes it kind of makes sense for most people. I think they can get that. But once we move away from that, and we're hearing the Prime Minister talk like, digital assets, we've got to really get behind this. Other than the carbon credits, what really can we offer? What really can be done?
There's a lot. There's a lot that can be done. And I think I'll give an example of what I basically set out to do once I moved home, right? Right now, it's very, very difficult for somebody to go to a doctor and then 6 months later go to another doctor and say, hey, this is what happened last time. In a lot of places, the health system is so connected that you just put in an ID number and every doctor, nurse, emergency service person kind of knows exactly what's going on with you. In terms of digital assets and underpinning with distributed ledgers, creating a system like that creates value in the fact that it makes it more efficient, right? And if it becomes more efficient, it saves money and it also gives the potential to make money. Another example that's linked to that would be if we were to monetize research, for instance, that same medical data that we all now have in a stored place where people can access it. We now offer a way for people to access that information and pay us for the use of that information. And they would pay us for the use of that information in digital assets. Okay. Who
people?
Anybody. So basically, if somebody wanted to figure out what's the average height of people in the Bahamas, they may send out a ping and say, hey, every male, please, can I access your data to see how tall you are? And you will say yes, and they'll pay you through digital assets for giving them that data. And so this could be any research institute anywhere in the world.
And just to piggyback off of that, this is actually already happening. And so, the good thing about, the digital asset space is that it's actually pretty good at facilitating microtransactions. And microtransactions are just really tiny payments, like a penny, which would be really expensive to do on traditional rails, but come at a sort of minimal cost on blockchain networks, right? And so there is a service, the name escapes me, but it's a sort of decentralized approach to doing work, where, there are certain, like, for example, machine learning requires you, me, Julian, Chester to sort of look at objects and to distinguish one thing from the next. And what that does is it feeds into an AI, and that's how we get like really good artificial intelligence programs, because it has to learn. But in order for it to learn, it has to be fed data. There's a service that actually decentralizes that work and pays people in cryptocurrency. And so when people think like, what is this thing being used for? And is it being used? Yeah, it is. And even if you look at, for example, in some markets, right? We don't experience hyperinflation in the Bahamas. It's a foreign concept to us. But in countries like Venezuela, Zimbabwe, and some of those other countries, Bitcoin and digital assets is actually a pretty good hedge against inflation. So, I think Bahamians have seen cryptocurrencies as a sort of, how I can make money off of crypto, and see it as a sort of speculative, asset class. Without necessarily looking at the real utility and the longer term play. And of course, there's, in any sort of development, I think, of technology and all of that stuff, there's going to be different stages. I think we're at that sort of stage where, people are saying, okay, well, how do we use this thing? There's a lot of fraud in the system, so on and so forth, right? Yeah, for sure. So it was the same situation for the internet, and there was a lot of that in the early days of the internet.
I think it's important to just take a big step back and say, hey, what is this thing that y'all still talking about that we still don't understand? What is it doing? Basically, all it's doing is providing the railway tracks for 2 trains to be on. And one train is information going to somebody, and the other train is that person paying you for your information. Now, that information could be anything. It could be money transactions. It could be you just imported a MacBook, and all Customs now needs to do is scan it, and the scan says that this is a MacBook Pro 13-inch, and as a result, customs can automatically just ask you to pay customs based on what they already know about this thing. So it's just a way to pass information, and then there's a component to it that has a value store system, so you can pass that value as well.
Okay. And
I think I just make everything more confusing.
I think one of the things that people don't understand is, and I guess part of it is about making money, right?
Yeah.
And when you say I get paid in digital assets, well, then they wonder, now how do I turn that digital asset into actual money?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
And so that's the purpose of an exchange. Exchanges provide liquidity in traditional markets, in digital assets, so on and so forth. The idea, hopefully, in a sort of utopian world where we don't have to go back to traditional rails and so on and so forth, everything would be sort of within these closed ecosystems that are interoperable, which just means that if I have one blockchain network and I have another blockchain network, then they can speak to each other, right? So one of the reasons we haven't seen mass adoption in, I think, the digital asset space yet really is because we don't yet have network effects. And network effects just means that, listen, if I have a phone and only me have a phone, then it's useless. Mm-hmm. But if I have a phone, Jillian have a phone, you have a phone, Chester has a phone, then we have network effects. Mm-hmm. So what we don't have in the space just yet is network effects. And I think once that happens, we have the interoperability between the networks, and then we have, efficient networks. Because let's face it, Bitcoin right now isn't the best way to pay for something. Mm-hmm. But there will be iterations that prove to be a lot more efficient than Bitcoin is, and are going to fit, I think, very seamlessly into the next phase of the internet, which is this whole Web3 thing, which we could go down that rabbit hole if you want. But yeah.
So, two things to really, really directly answer your question. How do I take what I just got paid in, that digital asset that I just got paid, how do I take that and turn it into cash? And one answer is, I'll tell you how to turn it into cash. The other answer is, why turn it into cash, right? So, and let me give an example on why turn it to cash. So I was having a conversation with somebody who needed a new car, and they told me they were going to wait until the end of the year to get a new car because there was a car coming out that was going to be at the right price point and it was going to be hybrid, right? And they were getting hybrid because that's the best technology, that's the way of the future, right? And so you get hybrid, you don't want to buy a car in 2022 that's going to last you 20 years that's running on oil because it doesn't kind of make a lot of sense, right? And over time, the compound effects of having a hybrid car, you get these benefits over time. The same thing happens in the digital asset space. There's a thought among a lot of people. I know I am of this thought. I can't speak for Anthony, but sometimes it's like if you get paid
the answer is yes, whatever it is.
If you get paid in a digital asset, that is something where most of the times, if it's not a stable coin, the value will grow over time. The stock will grow over time. Mm-hmm. So why are we then going from this digital asset to fiat currencies, which are the currencies we use today? And the big difference between the two is one is inflationary and one is deflationary, right? And then the other side of it of practically, how do I get my money out? Oh, sorry, before we get to that, the thing is, in the cryptocurrency space, just like in Chuck E. Cheese's, if we have the network effects that Anthony is talking about, if more and more people come in, then we really have less and less reason to have our value leave the system, right? But until that happens, then it's like, okay, so there's not enough network effects, there are not enough people in the system, and I have way too much value in the system and I need to live. How do I get that money? And like Anthony said, that's when you go to an exchange. Now, if you want to ask that question in a Bahamian context, how do I get my money as Bahamian? It's a little bit harder because we have exchange control, but there's a process with the central bank that I would tell everybody to go and figure out.
So what you're talking about now, we actually see it in the sand dollar.
Yeah.
Because you could have a sand dollar in your wallet, but you can't spend it everywhere. At the moment.
That's the challenge. So there's
that network effect, the same thing you're talking about.
Similar concept. Yeah. So that there's network effects on the consumer side and then the network effects on the merchant side.
Right.
So the merchants now need to say, okay, is this something that is useful to me? That being the sand dollar.
Yeah.
There might be any number of different value propositions for a merchant. For example, there might be lower transaction fees. I think that was one of the selling points for the sand dollar.
Faster settlements as well.
You're right, and faster settlements. So as a business person, you kind of have to think, okay, well, if I'm using these traditional rails, how much am I paying? And as compared, how would this work?
Right.
Of course, there's a lot of work to be done, to make that I think practical. But it's a problem, and every problem has a solution.
If we just look at coins and I guess NFTs and other things as fiat in our heads, right? And we get this network. Let's say Lowe's will take a coin for a product.
A Lowe's coin.
Yeah, right. How far are we away from like that kind of system? And we have this digital asset push, but are we really going to be like one of those countries that are?
Are you talking about country specific stuff or you mean just in general?
Country specific, yeah, because we're usually way behind other places.
Yeah, I mean,
even though right now we're ahead in some instances.
So I'll say this. I think there's an opportunity for us to sort of take a few steps forward, right? If you think about it in terms of payment integration and that sort of stuff, it's actually not that difficult to accept crypto. It actually might be a bit easier to accept crypto than it is to accept traditional fiat. So as far as integration,
it's a lot easier.
yeah,
It's way easier.
Yeah, as far as integration is concerned, there's an opportunity for us to just do, now how that works in terms of spending, needing to fund operating expenses and traditional fiat, that's a different conversation. But as far as how far we are from actual mass adoption, this sort of stuff, this is what's going to happen in the space. I suspect is there's going to be a lot of consolidation, and you've seen it now. With the market correction right now, there are projects that have not enough utility, way too much value, and that fat is going to get shaved. And what you'll see in that consolidation and merging, so on and so forth, is we're going to get a lot more efficient companies in the space, and then we'll carve out, I think, one, utility, and two, really, penetration. The crypto market is by no stretch of the imagination a big one. At its height, I think it was about $3.2 trillion. That's chump change. So we're not there yet. But, I think with network effects, the consolidation and correction that's happening in the market, I think in the future you will see this be a sort of integral part of the way we transact. And let's also pay attention to something else, which a lot of people are not. If you look at where a lot of the talent is heading, right? And I like to think if you're planning for the future, right? If you look at Harvard graduates, MIT graduates, some of the brightest minds in the world, where are they heading as engineers? In the blockchain space, in digital asset space, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of promise, opportunity, not yet realized, I think, value, but it's on the horizon. Yeah. I think so.
and to add to that point, I think we have to kind of give a reason to why so many engineers are jumping into the blockchain space, and blockchain being the tech that underpins cryptocurrencies and other digital assets. It'll probably be the tech that underpins the carbon credit system, and it's the tech that underpins NFTs. It's also the tech, I think, that underpins sand dollar, though it's centralized, right? Blockchains can be centralized or decentralized. But I think to add to that point of lost my train of thought. No, to add to your last point, what was your last point again?
About engineers.
Really smart people going into blockchain.
Right. So to add to that point, the reason why engineers and really smart people are all jumping into blockchain is because it's applicable to many, many, many industries, many just processes. And if it's the most efficient way to do a process, then you're going to jump on that bandwagon and try to execute the most efficient way to do things. Yeah. And so that's why there's a push toward it. But I think generally in the public view, what we're seeing right now is the application of it to money. as opposed to everything else.
All right, I want to go back to the example you gave about information and paying for the information. Immediately, I was thinking about privacy and this being abused. How much of a risk is there? And then people were asking about money laundering as well.
Go ahead.
So on two of those points, just in terms of as far as information is concerned, there's no scenario in which our information is being shared and abused more than under the current system. Those entities are very centralized. They sell you information, and that's how they make money. Facebook is not free. Twitter is not free. None of these things are free. I mean, look at Cambridge Analytica, all those things. So what happens is, and I alluded to Web3, briefly. But what Web3 does is it changes who owns what. And the reason for that is because in Web3, you're not going to have like a login for Google and a login for Facebook and then a login for Twitter, so on and so forth. What you're going to have is a self-custodied, meaning that you own everything assigned to this wallet, but a self-custodied wallet. And that is going to be the way that you access each of these different applications. And within that wallet and that ecosystem, you own your information. So the social media of tomorrow is going to have a very different, I think, business model and sort of way to assign value that is very much user involved. So what does that actually translate to?
Scary.
No, what does that translate to? So Dwight, you get paid by Guardian Radio and your other multi-billion-dollar businesses, of course. But if you as just as an individual, right? How many times have we seen Bahamians just have some really funny, memes, just post that sort of stuff, and you think that is the content that's being generated and fueling the business of the Twitters, the Facebooks, so on and so forth. They don't get paid for it, do they?
Right.
No. But the social media of tomorrow is going to say, okay, listen, your access point to this platform is your wallet. Your wallet is going to allow for a few things: storage of NFTs, storage of a plethora of tokens, and that sort of stuff. So, and remember, we go back to those microtransactions that are a lot more efficient on the blockchain than other platforms or whatever. So imagine this: you, Dwight, you post, "Hi, I'm Dwight." For some reason, people think that's incredibly funny. Instead of a like that translates to nothing, maybe there's a like that is attached to or assigned to, 0.0001 pennies, right? Doesn't seem like much, but imagine 20 million people liking that. So, and that money goes directly to you. So that's the whole promise of Web3.
Right.
And on money laundering,
go ahead.
But would that be automatic, or you just automatically?
Automatic. There's the thing with blockchain, digital assets, all that stuff is now again, payment efficiency is something that I think the space is working on. But remember, with centralized entities and all of these sort of things, like you have intermediaries in between that actually help to facilitate like settlement on the back end. So when you actually pay for something, very rarely is it settled immediately.
This is a dangerous world we're heading to. If you're going to get money for likes, we're looking for trouble.
But the point there really, Dwight, is that there's just a different way to assign value to something that we don't currently have, right? And I don't want to cut Jillian off, but like on money laundering, guys, it's something that has been associated with the space. Just like they did in the early 90s with the internet. And everyone was convinced the internet was just going to be used for adult entertainment and other things. I actually have some really interesting quotes about the internet in the 90s, which they didn't age well at all. And I suspect the same is going to happen for blockchain, digital assets, that sort of stuff. But on money laundering, as I think late 2021, the digital asset space probably, and again, blockchains make this very transparent. I think it accounted for maybe 2.1% of all transactions, right? Illicit transactions, right? They have that data. If you look at that and compare it to traditional fiat, it's almost 6%. So proportionately, you have a lot more money laundering happening with traditional fiat than you do crypto. And so it's interesting how that narrative has been sort of spun and associated with crypto. And again, I think a lot of it has to do with like maybe fraud and some of the things that the space is rife with right now. But that'll change with regulation as well.
Yeah.
So you think for the future, not...
Even now, though, there are a couple things to consider, right? So we're talking about privacy and we're talking about money laundering, and there's a couple points that underpin both. Number one, most blockchains don't offer anonymity; it offers pseudonymity. And a couple of years ago, it would seem like you're anonymous because you create a wallet address and you don't put your name or anything in. But over time, there's enough data points to assign that wallet to you. You can go on any block explorer. This is how you look at the transactions on the blockchain. And a lot of them have wallet address that they tag to different exchanges, sometimes different people. So you can go on there and you can see exactly which wallet Sam Bankman-Fried has or Vitalik Buterin, right? So you can go on there because there's enough data points to assign that to you. So what your wallet address is basically a username for you. It's not anonymous, it's pseudonymous. And I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have. That's number one. Number two, with that pseudonymity and the fact that it's a ledger, and it's a ledger that's immutable, meaning that nobody can change the records in this ledger, we can always go back and see where money came from. With cash, you can't do that. If I were to jump on a plane with $9,999, land in the airport, go to gate C43, and give it to my boy, and then get back on the plane, nobody knows, right? But if you were to do this on a blockchain, it's tracked forever. And so in this way, it's actually a lot more secure than cash is. Cash is anonymous. Nobody's putting your name on it, and it's jumping from person to person to person. Whereas your wallet address and the transactions that you do, there's no exit for this value. There's no Bitcoin coin that you're actually going to put in your pocket. So there's always going to be a way to track the money and follow the money. Now, specifically for privacy, yes, it's not pseudonymous. Yes, it's not anonymous. It is pseudonymous, but that part doesn't matter so much here. When we talk about privacy in the context of private companies, like Anthony talked about just now with social media, that's one thing. And chances are it's not private, because in order for a company to pay you out that money, they're going to have to ask you for your proof of address, your name, and all of this stuff. And so we have that in a system that's stored in the background. It's just not your username. The second thing is, not all blockchains are decentralized. So that blockchain that belongs to Facebook, who's paying you out money, or Instagram or TikTok, who's paying out money for likes, that's centralized. That's owned by TikTok, right? And TikTok knows your name. The same thing is going to happen if governments come into play, like the Bahamian government is being so bullish on it. It's bold, it's innovative. It's when you have a government that's owning a blockchain, it's not going to be decentralized like we're talking about with Bitcoin. It's going to be centralized. And just like the sand dollar, you're going to have to give your name. You're going to have to give your ID, and then you're going to get a wallet address. So it's not totally anonymous. And then the other part about privacy is we're going to put things in place. Every system is going to have some things in place if we're using sensitive data to make sure that that data is not going anywhere else. And this is the example that I'll give. Right now, my driver's license number is sitting at a whole bunch of gas stations, a whole bunch of restaurants who write down D/L, and then your driver's license number. Yeah. They may even write down your name. My driver's license number, or my passport is in Bahamas Air's databases. My voter's card is at some post office, and all of this information is out there about me. And I can't go to the ticket booth at the airport and say, hey, give me that data back. Hey, Mr. Guy at the passport center, like, give me my data back. But if it exists in your phone, you can give permission, and you can pull the permission. And this is called permission data. And so if I go to RBC and apply for a loan and allow them to have my data to do what they need to do, and they decline me for the loan, I'm going to pull my data back. And it's actually a lot more safe than what we have right now, where RBC is probably sitting on my data for a mandated 15 years.
Speaking of which, Jillian, I just came up with what I think a brilliant idea. We need to NFT.
You sound so evil.
Bahamas government, listen. We need to NFT voters cards because I have no idea why they're still being written on like the little purple papers, something. I don't know. Maybe it's possible.
All right, explain that. So what does that mean when you put it like that?
So-
NFT the voters card.
So, for example, like I would imagine that if we were to take that approach, instead of having that sort of physical document, the cardboard or whatever have you, we would have the same sort of characteristics like name, date of birth, all of these things, but sort of permanently stored on the blockchain. And so there would be no question about like, okay, is this authentic or is this person who he says he is? And so the idea would just be to sort of tokenize that equivalent and put it on a blockchain. And again, we keep saying going back to immutability and all of this stuff, and I don't think we even explained what immutability is. So just something being immutable just means that it's very difficult to remove records of those either transactions or information stored on that database without it raising an alarm. And this is where the miners and proof of work blockchain come in and they say, okay, we're verifying these transactions. If there's misalignment, then we don't add that block. And so this is where like I think there's real utility in having things that shouldn't be changed sort of stored on blockchain. So, and it's just a loose concept.
Great.
So would someone
voters
make
cards.
money from that, or would there be a potential to make that?
for NFT voters cards?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on what the business model might look like. I would think that's something that I don't know. Maybe someone can.
Let's put this in a context where we can see. Let's put this in a context where we can see how we can make money from something like that. Let's change it away from voters card and let's say our NIB card. Right now, our NIB card has our picture on it. It has a number on it. It even has a chip, and I think it has a QR code on the background. Right? Imagine if that that NIB card was had a digital equivalent. And that digital equivalent is non-fungible, meaning that it's very, very different from anyone that it still looks like a card, but has a different number, it has a different face, and it belongs to a different person, right? And so we have this non-fungible card that's attached to a little spot on the blockchain, right? And I'm going to use Anthony as an example because I always do, right? And so Anthony has an NIB card now that has data stored about him, right? Because as a 13-year-old, he decided that he's going to have a summer job, and they said, yeah, I need an NIB number, and he got an NIB card, and that
exactly
data, that NIB data has his health information, his employment information, all of this stuff since he was 13 years old. The second that he turned 18, a little smart contract that's programmed in there, sorry, not 18, it's 17 in the Bahamas, said Anthony is now allowed to go to the Department of why am I going with U.S. stuff?
Road
traffic. And
to be clear, I am a baby.
And to road traffic and say, hey, I'm 17 and I've done my test, which is also there on the blockchain, and you can see that I passed it. Please give me a driver's license, right? So all of this information is there. There's efficiency, so there's money made actually for the government in this. And then when we're talking about making money for ourselves, if that NIB data, once again, stores your health data, and NIB says, you know what, University of Miami came down to the Bahamas, they want to understand things about fibroids in women. And so they can ping the whole system and say, can we access your data just for the information for this research? And they say yes. University of Miami maybe goes and pays NIB. NIB now puts that on your card, and you can now go and use that at another health place.
So this is how our ease of doing business crew fixes this problem that we have of going to 8 different offices for information that we already gave to the 8.
Yeah.
But the 8 aren't talking to each other.
Yeah. Right. So that's the
away from the silos.
What you spoke really to is interoperability. So the departments need to speak to each other essentially.
Really quickly, when you say the information, I mean, are they going to ask every individual card holder or just NIB to give that information?
Individual card holders,
Everybody,
because you would say yes, I allow my information to be shared.
All right, so it wouldn't just wholesale.
Yeah,
because that would be horrible.
Yeah,
right,
and effectively the same thing that happens today.
All right, we're having a great conversation. We're going to pick this up after the break. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Sign your basketball teams up today for the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic, August 1st through the 7th at the Hope Center. Get ready for Doctors versus Politicians, along with the Phil Lightburn Slam Dunk Contest, then Energy 3-point Shootout, along with all championship games, live in living color at the Kendall G. Liza Gymnasium, Sunday, August 7th, beginning at 5 p.m. That's the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Street Basketball Classic. For more information, contact 601-4842.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Parents, it's that sweet time of year again.
What are you talking about me, Christmas yet?
The kids are going back to school, so pick up your copy of the Nassau Guardian's Back to School Supplement, cause
it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Put your students in the latest styles at the lowest prices, because summer break is almost over, and our Back to School Supplement is filled with brand name back to school supplies at discounted prices, store locations, hours, and contact details.
It's the happiest season of all.
Advertisers, call the Nassau Guardian today at 302-2300 or call your account executive to get in on the 2-for-1 insertion deal. If it's uniforms, shoes, books, backpacks, calculators, art supplies, laptops, tablets, or whatever is on your back-to-school supply list, your ad should be in the Nassau Guardian's Back to School Supplement.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
We're good for you. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The government will establish investment attaches at Bahamian embassies around the world to facilitate trade and foreign direct investment, which Prime Minister Philip Davis says will, in turn, improve the ease of doing business in the country. The Prime Minister was addressing the annual National Association of Black Hotel Owners, Operators, and Developers Awards and Scholarship Luncheon in Miami, Florida, where he was a guest speaker. You can read more about his comments in today's Guardian Business section. After more than 2 years closed because of the COVID pandemic, Club Med at Columbus Isle on San Salvador is preparing to reopen in October and rehire staff. That's according to Tourism, Aviation, and Investment Minister Chester Cooper. Club Med is one of the last remaining resorts in the country that has not reopened since its pandemic-induced closure. For now, Club Med is looking to hire a human resources assistant manager and a number of maintenance positions. Scotiabank officially opening its new sale at Wolf Road and Jerome Avenue. That opened on Friday. Customers will receive dedicated help with financing needs. According to Director of Business Support, Nikira Simonet, The building will begin to be renovated by the end of the year. And this Friday, the opening was a soft opening as the renovations will continue. And a new report shows that in the 3 years since the country developed its public-private partnership policy, its implementation is still in its early stages and its use has yet to be tested. The 2021 Infrascope report, put together by Economist Impact, the analysis arm of the Economist Group, and commissioned by the IDB, describes the Bahamas' progress towards PPP implementation as emerging. It does, though, acknowledge the country for having one of the strongest infrastructure plans and business case preparation development processes in the region. In your market watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Friday, your market movers: Bank of the Bahamas moving 100,000 shares, unchanged at 251. Bahamas Property Fund moving 850, unchanged at 610. Finco moving 2,078, up 5 cents, closing at 10.15. Focall moving 1,000, unchanged at 390. Consolidated Water up 1 cent, closing at 280. Emira Incorporated down 4 cents, closing at 11.55. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,599.73, up 6.84. Recapping the week, the local market ended the week with 119,528 shares crossing the exchange, with 9 trades, accumulating a value of $529,429. The BISX All Share Index gained 7.02 points, or 0.271%. Year to date, the index is up 371.49 points, or 16.672%. The week's volume and value leader, Bank of the Bahamas, moving 102,000 shares in 2 trades with a value of $256,020. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL. Be sure to tune in tonight for CFAL Talks. The topic: going bust, outsourced versus in-house pension plans, and is NIB a tax? That's tonight at 6:30 p.m. right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. We are talking with Jillian Bethel and Anthony Cartwright with OKX Bahamas. We are talking NFTs and digital assets. And getting schooled on it this morning. And making a little bit of sense to me. Getting there. Still a lot of questions, but we'll have to make this a series.
I'm surprised you didn't know people get paid for likes.
Clearly, the way the things that people are posting, they must. Anyway, let's get all the... And if you have any questions, call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. This text here says, excellent academic discussion. I'm learning from it regarding medical records access and sharing potentially a hard sale. However, it should drive medical fees down. Is that possible? Would that be? Why would that? Thanks.
So I have a background as a doctor, surgeon, researcher, and something that we did was our outpatient clinics, people who came into the clinic, just at the hospital itself. We would take their data. Maybe they will come in for inpatient services. We'll ask them to kind of fill out a book, and after 1 year, 3 years, 6 months, whatever, we have check-ins with them, and we'll tell them what we're doing. We're like, hey, can we please use this information to make medicine better? The research team would get paid for that. The lab would get paid for that. The hospital would get paid. The people who manage the hospital, all along the chain of, how this information went from just raw data to published research, people get paid all along that chain. Mm-hmm. And so it could be another revenue stream that, directly goes to, it depends on the business model, obviously, but it could be another revenue stream that lowers the price for everybody, or it could be a revenue stream that in the end if it's a private company or a public company, they decide to give better services. The fact is, along the chain, everyone's going to make money. It's just what they're going to do with the money, right? That's if a system like this was put in play.
Right.
You know, we're talking hypothetically. Nobody's saying that this is happening right now. It should, but we don't know that.
Yeah. All right. So I think, Anthony, it started to make a lot of sense when you talked about some of the memes. Some of these people are very creative around here. We've seen that in the States, people selling digital artwork for millions, billions of dollars.
Coin.
Or Bitcoin. So, okay, I can get behind that concept because there's talent here. But is the end of corporations just going to be you Inc?
They get
Me
replaced
Inc?
by DAOs.
So-
what is this? Where are we heading?
I definitely want Anthony to go ahead and answer this, but I definitely want to be the person to tell y'all this, right?
Oh, they're glowing folks. They're very excited.
You remember the statue in front of Government House?
Uh-oh.
Kind of got beat up.
Yeah.
There was a person who made an NFT based on that statue.
Oh, yeah.
And developed this NFT and then sent it out to people. I don't know if they got paid or not.
What did they do? What was it?
They basically created a. You know what? I'll let the person who did it tell y'all.
What?
Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's hear this.
Okay, I don't know. What do you want to hear about? No, I mean, that was a pretty, I think, interesting, fun project. I never did it to make a killing from it. But what I did was I got a sort of 3D render of the statue. And it's, in the state that it was in at the time, after it had been broken.
Afterward.
Yeah, after it had been broken and that sort of stuff. And the idea behind that was just to promote the use of NFTs as even a form of preservation, because we never know if that statue is going to be erected again or anything like that. But having captured that as a sort of as a 3D render, tokenizing it, that sort of stuff, it was really just a play on something that was contemporarily relevant. But
So
it was interesting.
There's a couple really, really, really important things that Anthony does not really own up to, right? He said one of them, very clearly just now. He allowed people to understand that, hey, here's an NFT, and you guys can relate to this thing right now. Bring awareness to digital assets. The second thing he did was he crystallized a time in Bahamian culture. The third thing he did was crystallize a time in pop culture, because he released it when everybody was still laughing at the Archangel, right? So all of those things happen, and if somebody wants to take that and ascribe value to it, then Anthony's rich. Meaning if somebody wants to say, hey, this is now how we're gonna document in the Bahamas. This is now how we're gonna document that there's a straw market fire. We're gonna take a picture of it and we're gonna say that this happened at this time, and then somebody can take ownership of that. I know it's weird because we don't do that now, right? But it's like, what if somebody took ownership of all of the images and the sounds and the moments of what's the ship that sank?
Titanic?
Sure, the Titanic. Right? I figured y'all would come up with something. I actually made the HMBS.
Flamingo.
The Flamingo, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody took that and crystallized all of the thoughts, that means the articles that are written, the images, everything about that, then 100 years down the line, when somebody is writing a book about Bahamian history and why we have a certain holiday and all the things that contributed to it, if they wanted to give any imagery, if they wanted to give anything about it, all of that would be owned by somebody, and their ownership will be reflected and crystallized on a blockchain.
Well, I mean, it exists. It's what you're talking about is royalties almost,
Yep,
Kind of, yeah.
but easier.
but easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also, again, we're going into this weird phase of the world, which, some people agree that we're headed in that direction, others don't. I think there's way too much money, way too much talent being, pushed behind it for it not to. That's just my view. But, we even allude to Web3, metaverse, all of that stuff. So, for example, let's use that NFT as just a very sort of isolated example. But in the quote-unquote metaverse, they're going to be like museums, for example, right? And that is something that could have actually been on loan to a virtual museum in the metaverse, and then you assign value to that. And so that again, what I think is happening, the transition is happening is just a different way to assign value.
Yeah.
And
They tell me I can have Morning Blend in the metaverse.
why not?
Yeah.
I don't know what that would mean.
I mean, you'd have to call it something different
So-
because then it would be
it's a
your show, and then you would be
Oh.
getting paid. No
Well,
middleman. You know?
Okay, all right.
It's ideas for you guys. Sorry, Guardian.
You look at me.
No, sorry. But
I mean, I can finally get paid. What?
This guy. All right, so we have to have you back because we didn't even talk much about carbon credits, and there's so much more to learn. And I think you've touched on some things that are waking people up now. And so we're going to have you back. But Jillian, Bethel, and Annie, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for
having
us.
me.
OKX Bahamas, how can people reach you all and get more information?
Yep. So OKX, we have a website, okx.com. That's our exchange. Otherwise, it's probably pretty hard to find.
Yeah, well, that'll be the best way to do it. All right, thank you again for being here. Thank you so much, Chester.
Yes, sir.
And Mrs. Robarts, happy anniversary again. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Happy anniversary,
you.
Joshua.
I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight, Strachan, have a great one. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.